Hello everyone, I'm Lucy Fanger, CEO of On Technology Partners, and I'm proud to be sponsoring our new program, Women STaRs. In each episode, we will spotlight an amazing woman and the struggles and triumphs that she has faced. Then we will reflect and share her insights. Our goal is to engage, entertain, and explore the women STaRs in our world today. I hope you enjoy.
I want to thank you all for listening today. My name is Shanti Harkness, and I'm the Media Manager for On Technology Partners, a woman-owned company addressing cybersecurity and risk. Join us as we share the reflections of women just like you that have survived struggles and embraced triumphs in their lives. Today, we'll be talking with Jenice Contreras. Jenice is the Executive Director of the Northeast Ohio Hispanic Center for Economic Development. She earned her Bachelor of Arts degree from Capital University and an Executive Master of Business Administration from the Ohio State University Fisher College of Business. Jenice serves on the board of the Center for Community Solutions and is a member of the City of Cleveland's Planning Commission's Near West Design Review Committee. In 2021, Jenice was recognized with Smart 50 and Progressive Woman of the Year awards by Smart Business Magazine. She was featured in the March-April 2020 edition of Phenomenal Woman magazine and was recognized on Crain's Cleveland Magazine's 2019 Woman of Note in Nonprofit and in 2018 as a notable woman in real estate. She's an advocate in addressing racial diversity and representation of people of color. She was born in Puerto Rico, is bilingual, bicultural, and is proud of her heritage. She is a mother of 2 young adults, Carl and Kyle, and continues to ensure growth in economic and community development for Latinos in Northeast Ohio. Jenice, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you, Shanti. Happy to be here.
So before we begin, why don't you tell us something that others may not know about yourself or something exciting about yourself?
You know, it's always interesting to hear people read off your bio. So the one cool thing that I think is super cool, but is that I'm a grandmother of 2 babies. There's Elena would be 2 years old soon, and I have a 7-month-old grandson, JJ. So it throws off people when I say that I have adult children, and even more so when I say I have grandchildren. It really freaks people out. So I love saying it because I'm so proud and excited to be a fairly young grandmother. But
I was just going to say, you look really young. You look too young to be a grandmother.
I know it throws folks off, and I just love it. I absolutely love it. People tell you, and we all know the love we share with our grandparents. But when it happens to you, it's like, yeah, nobody could describe this. That's pretty amazing.
That's wonderful. All right, so let's dive right in. So we know that triumphs don't come without their struggles, right? So talk to us a little bit about what some of your biggest struggles have been. These can be either professionally or personally, and how you were able to get through those struggles, what kind of an impact they had on your life or career.
Yeah, you know, I ended up being a young mother, as I mentioned already. And so it was very challenging, and, you know, many women could relate, raising children and building a career at the same time. And so I think that's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Needless to say, I didn't get a whole lot of sleep for a very long time, maybe decades, and maybe I don't even know what sleep is. But, you know, just trying to be present because, you know, your kids grow fast, and, you know, we're just on this like marathon of life. And then at the same time, having my own personal aspirations around my career and what I wanted to do. And so I think that was just significantly challenging. My sons attended both of my graduations. So they attended my undergrad and attended my graduate, you know, degree graduation. And so I think that was just a great moment for them, because they definitely saw me cry or study late or running kids, you know, shuffling kids from one place to another, waiting till they went to sleep to study. So it was just the hardest thing I've done, aside of just raising children, period, because that's a whole other thing. But really trying to do them at the same time, and understanding that my time with them was borrowed, I think was very challenging. I think we did our best, you know, and got through it. And And I feel really proud that I didn't have to set, oftentimes women feel like they have to choose one or the other. If you want the family, you can't have the career. Or if you want the career, you can't have the family. And so I think there's many stubborn women that just refuse to believe that is the case. And so I just challenged myself to do it all. And it wasn't perfect and it was very messy most days, but I'm happy I was able to get through it.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. And people that have been able to raise children while also working and going to school, I have just been in absolute awe of, because I know how hard it was for me just to go to work and school and take care of everything. I couldn't even fathom how much more of a struggle it would be each day to take care of young children. I
don't remember, honestly. I don't think I remember. I just know we got through it and everybody's alive and, they're stable young men now. So, it's definitely a whirlwind, but again, worth every moment. So the mamas that are out there, going through it, stick to it. It'll be worth it.
Oh, wonderful. So did you have any tips or tricks that you used to get through those challenging times?
Yeah, the little bit I can remember. Honestly, planning an organization is top. And I just feel like that's innate for most women, regardless, right? Like we are the planners, the leaders, the coordinators of everything in our lives. So I think that was just imperative. I look at other parents now and it's, like we had a routine, like I only did laundry once a week and, just was very regimented and you kind of don't think about it when it's happening because you're just kind of on survival mode, right? You're just doing what needs to get done. You also know it's a domino effect, right? So if something doesn't happen, then it's postponed and finding the time in the middle of the week. And so to me was that preparation as much as possible, who cares sometimes if everything is not perfect. So plan, but also give yourself the flexibility to know that life happens, and sometimes life might be like sitting on the couch, watching a show and doing nothing. So also giving ourselves the grace to say, hey, it didn't happen today and that's okay. We will manage.
I've had a number of friends that, have young children and, I would go over to visit with them and, their house would be a mess. And some of them would be really embarrassed by it and be like, I'm so sorry. The house is a mess. And I'm like, don't apologize. You've got kids, like your house does not need to be immaculate. And even if you didn't have kids, your house doesn't need to be immaculate. Then I would have other friends that would just be like, look, this is what it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we need to do more of that, giving ourselves, like I said, the grace to just say, it's going to be chaotic. And trust me when I say someday you will have a clean home, and it'll probably be empty, right? Your kids will be grown and gone. So it doesn't last forever. So I remember my aunt when I used to fuss about my house not being perfect, she would say, a messy home is a happy home. And I used to be like, are you crazy? Like this is insanity, right? So, and I felt like it was her way to also just let me know hey, it's okay. It's a home that's lived in and, there's people and things are happening. And so we need to do more of that, just giving ourselves the opportunity to say, it's okay. It's going to be chaotic and it might not be perfect.
The memories that you make and the joy that is in your home is what's more important than everything in its perfect place. Definitely. So let's take a moment now and focus on your biggest triumph. Can you share what that was and what made it so great for you?
Shanti, I feel like I'm still going through it. One of the things that I've gotten a chance to do professionally in my current role is help be a part of just the redevelopment of the Clark Fulton neighborhood in the near west side of Cleveland. And so this neighborhood has the largest density of Latino residents in the state of Ohio. It's the neighborhood I grew up in. I went to Lincoln West High School down the street. I see the apartment that my mom and I grew in. I grew up with a single mother. And so going to work, coming to the office is really going right back where it all started. And so for me to get the opportunity to come right back home to try to make this place a better place, right? To try to figure out what solutions the residents of this neighborhood want and need to make it equitable, right? Because it's not, and it wasn't while I grew up, and it still isn't today. This neighborhood faces a lot of challenges around, food access and educational attainment, poverty, homes with lead. And so to have the opportunity to serve my community in my neighborhood by far is one of the most rewarding things for me. We saw a need in this neighborhood, obviously, around small businesses, and really where can we put neighborhood-based small businesses to address neighborhood needs, but also to provide an economic opportunity. And there really wasn't. And so through the organization, we purchased 2 acres of land on West 25th, and we're in the process of doing a Latino marketplace. The name of the project is Centro Villa 25. And so never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be in commercial real estate or doing a construction project, right? Like, some days I wake up and I'm like, I'm doing what? But it all just came from a need. And so just to have the opportunity to play a leading role into creating something that's transformational in a community that's going to live generations, to come, it's pretty wild and pretty invigorating for me.
Oh, that's amazing. And so exciting about the retail marketplace that's being developed.
Yes.
That sounds very exciting. I worked at a health department back in Pennsylvania, where I'm from, and that was something that we tried to work really hard on in our community in an area that was considered a quote unquote food desert. So there was very minimal access to healthy, affordable foods, not a lot of stores, but it was very, very long in the making, many years, many different organizations having a say in things. And I think I just recently saw that something was actually starting to come to fruition. And I mean, it might have been talked about for 10, 15 years, at various stages.
Yeah. Here in my organization, it's been over 40 years. So 4 decades.
Wow.
There have been some conversations of something, right? Definitely not in the form that it looks like today, but just aspirations for our community to put a stake in the ground and really have a place. While Northeast Ohio embraces culture, we are not a melting pot, right? We have pockets of groups that may or may not interact. And oftentimes people are not aware of the rich Latino community that we have here, And so I think this project, while it's going to address like neighborhood need, it's also inviting the greater community to share in this cultural opportunity. And so it's a huge deal for our community, totally transformational in that sense, as well as just for Northeast Ohio as a whole to have this kind of cultural hub in one of the primary corridors of the city. So just exciting all around.
Very exciting. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. So, as women, we juggle a multitude of different things. There's career and family, household responsibilities. Sometimes there's illnesses and caregiving. How do you maintain a work-life balance? And what do you think that employers could do to be more supportive of that balance?
Yeah. So I think the first thing for me personally is that I don't believe in this concept of work-life balance. I throw it out the window because it gives you this false sense that everything has to balance or that it will balance. And then if you don't achieve that, then you're not getting to this like ultimate work-life balance. Some days are 80% work and maybe 20% family. or the other way around, right? Every day is different in our lives. And so again, giving ourselves the opportunity to be whatever we need to be. It might be at 80-20, 10-90, whatever. Really getting rid of that notion that this is what it looks like, and understanding what demands are upon you, and also what you need. What is it that you need to take care of yourself in order for you to then be able to do that for others. And so I think that for me is important. And when I figured that out, there is no freaking balance, and it just is what it is. Life became a lot easier. I think employers need to recognize that as well. This idea that women are less valued or get paid less because they have more work or more responsibilities is insane. But I think employers just need to be mindful of that. One thing, it's good business. And I'll tell you why. It's good business because if I have an employee in my office who is worried because she has a sick child, guess what? She's not going to be here 100%, right? Mm-hmm. She's worried. Absolutely. She's checking that phone. She's making phone calls. You know what I mean? She is not here. And so I think employers need to make sure that it makes business sense in the sense of handle what you have to handle, so that when you're here, then you could dedicate yourself to the work that you're doing. And so again, it's just this idea, this American concept of work. And, you leave your family at the door, or you leave your responsibilities. Some of us are taking care of aging parents, or, just have multitude of responsibilities. You might have a second job. You might have a side hustle because you're trying to start a business, right? There's so much. We are very complex folks that are busy doing a lot of things. And so I think employers just need to recognize that and focus on the employee versus, focusing on the task at hand or what we have to do. I get it. We all have deadlines, things are hard, right? The world is understaffed. And so I think we also need to take care of our folks. We need to take care of our employees. We need to take care of the folks that help make it happen. And how better to do that than to acknowledge whatever may be going on.
I absolutely agree with that. And that's something that I've experienced in this position with On Technology Partners is they are very concerned about their employees. And they want to make sure that that you're healthy and that you have whatever that you need. Like, I've had a couple of different health challenges come up over the last year or two. And, both of my bosses have been incredibly supportive and saying, like, if you need to take time off, get better, because you're not going to be working at your best if you're trying to push yourself before you're ready. So just take the time that you need, rest, recover, and then come back. The work will get done, somehow we'll make it work. Just get better. And it's so refreshing because that has not always been the case in previous jobs. And
you build that loyalty, right?
Absolutely.
That flexibility, because when you do come back, you're working stronger. You're grateful for the opportunity to do that. You're healthier.
Absolutely.
Right. And so again, it just makes business sense to let people take care of themselves, and, they'll come back stronger.
So Jenice, as a woman, how would you define success for yourself? And do you have any tips or habits that you've used to help you be successful or to feel successful?
Yeah. I think for me, it's been primarily trying to surround myself with like-minded people, right? So I think making sure, again, another false idea that I refuse to buy into is that women are not supportive, or we're catty, or we're this, or we're that, or when women are in leadership roles, you're on your own. And so that is so not true. Developing my she tribe of women that fill my cup and that, I could vent to. I am surrounded by so many amazing women, and we may not be in the same field. We might be in different stages in our lives. We may not be in the same state or country, but finding a way to connect. Obviously, living through a pandemic has really changed the way that we interact with folks, and almost as a reminder to really connect. And so for me is just really find the folks that that are going to be supportive and they believe in you. There's a whole lot of critics and there's a whole lot of folks that may not want you to succeed. But I think it's such a minor group when you think about the people that do want to see you win and be successful and reciprocate that onto other women, right? How do we lift other women so that they know that they are worthy and that they can do it? And so for me, that has been significant in my career and my development as, I've moved through.
I love it. And I like the term you used, she tribe. I like that.
It's very powerful. And that's what it takes. It really takes, it's not easy. It's not an easy environment, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're in corporate. Nonprofit is tough work, right? So It really doesn't matter, again, what industry, if you're a stay-at-home mom, right? So we're going through it. We're all going through it. And so having folks that you can vent to or relate to, or heck, talk about nothing, talk about what color is your lipstick, or, just things that are, plain girly. They have nothing to do with anything. I think it's just refreshing and part of staying healthy and well-rounded.
Good tips to remember for all of us. Absolutely. So take a moment now and reflect on something that you wish you would have known sooner in life and share that with us.
Because I was kind of on this race called life, right? Of in my 20s and 30s, raising children and building a career and buying the house and summer vacations. I also spent a lot of time on things that were not important. I attended a lot of evening meetings or weekend events. And so I think now in retrospect, I would analyze. And now that I don't have a lot of time and I'm super busy still, right, in my mid 40s, thinking about how does this meeting or how does this event feed either my personal or professional goals? And if I can't answer that with clarity, I tell people, get up and walk out of the meeting and go home to your children, go visit your parents, go sit on the couch and have some ice cream, go do whatever that is. And so I wish I would have spent less time on things that weren't really feeding me professionally or personally.
Insightful reflections. So what advice would you give to young women that are just beginning their careers, or perhaps women that are thinking about changing careers?
Yeah. So definitely that's one, aligning yourself, learning to say no. Don't feel like you have to do it all. We are, if you're anything like me, I am easily inspired. I care about everything. I care about education and the environment and, healthcare. And so oftentimes folks ask us to do things and we just say yes, and then get ourselves stuck in super busy lives. And so advice that I still need to give myself and still need to apply because I totally overcommit. But again, just aligning your commitments and your yeses to your ultimate goal professionally or personally, and figuring out what you're passionate about, and sometimes that takes time. You don't know until you try it. So once you're there, once you say, okay, I think I'm going to go on the path of nonprofit management, or I want to start a business, or I want to do whatever, really, if it doesn't align, if it doesn't fit, kind of just this criteria of growth, being okay with saying no. We struggle with that. Women really, really struggle. I struggle with that. So I often find myself negotiating with people, right? Well, no, but can I find you someone? Or no, but it still needs to be a no. And we need to mean our no's in the sense of not overcommitting and being really, really selfish with our time.
Absolutely. And it's so important that you said that, because I think oftentimes we feel like we have to say yes to everything because we don't want to disappoint people and we want to help, and we don't want conflict and any other number of different reasons why. But really taking a step back and going, well, how is this going to affect me? Is this going to cut into my self-care time? Is this going to cut into my family time? Is this going to cut into other, professional responsibilities that I have, whatever it might be? Or do you just really need a break to do nothing?
Yeah.
Because that's just as important too. And I think, like you said, if I can't fulfill X, Y, Z, let me put you in touch with somebody who might be able to help. I think is, it's a good middle ground that, we're still able to say no, but, I'll give you a little bit of
people want a solution, and you'd be surprised. Folks know when you ask for a favor or they need something, there's two responses, yes or no, right? And so no is totally acceptable. And maybe some people will be upset or disappointed. But I think sometimes the biggest challenge is within ourselves, right?
Yes.
Within ourselves, feeling guilty, feeling like, oh my God, but I really do care about that, right? I think that is the biggest step of just understanding. And I clearly remember my process of learning, hey, you can't be everything to everyone, understanding the effects of stress and exhaustion on our bodies and our minds and how it impacts everything, cortisol levels and, just all of these factors that play into our long-term quality of life. And so I think we need to just be more protective, of our time and our resources as a self-care strategy, right? That's purely self-care and survival.
And, we have to put ourselves first, because if we don't, we're not going to be functioning at optimal capacity to be able to help anybody else.
Absolutely.
So it's, very, very important to make sure we take that time. So Jenice, we're at the end of our interview. Do you have any last words or any last bits of advice that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Ladies, be fearless, let go of the hangups. I think that's one of the things I'm enjoying about my 40s. Oh my God, when I'm 50, I'm going to be a mess. Because you're just getting to this point that you say what you mean and you care a little less on that impact because you know yourself better and you stand your ground. And so to the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds, live it now. Don't wait till your 40s on just living your life fearlessly. You are worth it. You deserve to get paid more. You deserve that job, that opportunity, open that business, let go of your inhibitions. Most of the time, our biggest enemies are it's in our head, right? And us thinking of all the reasons why things won't work or the challenges or the barriers, but start believing the reasons why it will, like that one reason that it'll work, and motivate yourself as far as, jumping out of bed every morning and driving to that. So again, ladies, live fearlessly, do it, whatever it is, jump on it.
Live fearless. I love it. Excellent parting words. So Jenice, if someone wanted to get in contact with you, how would they get in touch with you?
Yes, I think the easiest, my last name is a little long and complicated, but, visit the website of our organization, which is hbcenter.org. And that's H as in house, B as in boy, center.org. And so obviously my profile and the information of our organization is on there. So reach out, ladies, happy to be part of your She Tribe or be able to connect any way we can.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Jenice, it's been an absolute privilege speaking with you. Thank you again so much for taking the time for this interview.
Shanti, thank you and all of the women stars that have come before me and will come after me. This is really an awesome experience. Thank you.
Thank you. On Technology Partners wants to thank you for joining us on this episode of Women STaRs. If you'd like to appear in a future podcast episode, or if you'd like to nominate a woman to be interviewed for Women STaRs, please email stars@ontechpartners.com. My name is Shanti Harkness. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for joining us on today's journey. Remember, you are all women stars. If you wish to learn more about our Women STaRs program or want to be a guest on our show, contact us at stars@ontechpartners.com. And thank you to On Technology Partners for helping me make this program a reality. Remember, we at On Technology Partners want to help you protect your team from hackers. To learn more about our cybersecurity services, go to ontechnologypartners.com.